so short. Antonia is a pretty awesome person, and I know I can always count on her to make me laugh and be there for me when I need her most. Many of you may not know this, but she's a really amazing actress, and she does a lot of plays at Walden, so you should go check that out before she graduates. And she's pretty cool. Love you, bubbly. Good luck on your speech. Lemony Snicket wrote, "If we wait until we are ready, we'll be waiting for the rest of our lives." At age 4, we start preparing. We spend preschool preparing for elementary school for middle school for high school, and high school for college. However, at some point you have to stop preparing and just do something. When I moved to Spain for my junior year, however, I was completely unprepared. I tried to prepare. I spent the last part of the summer attempting the suggested reading list in hopes of entering the school year with great Spanish. I gave up when I realized that I was going at the speedy pace of 1 page an hour. The second I arrived, every class I'd ever taken, every test that I'd ever passed, was completely irrelevant when an unknown Spanish couple picked me up from the bus stop in Zaragoza, Spain, to take me back to their home to live with them for 9 months. I spent the first weekend in my new home using hand gestures and awkwardly stringing together Spanish words and grammar to try to communicate. Knowing the unit circle was completely useless when I was trying to figure out public transportation, and all the Spanish I knew wasn't helpful when my conversations with my host dad involved him saying, "Rrr," and me nodding my head and going, "Sí, sí." In my Spanish lit class, the only thing I could read on the syllabus was the word syllabus. I was even unprepared for my English class, the only class besides math that I could fully understand because it wasn't taught in Spanish. I didn't think it was possible to write one 5-page paper, much less 2 in 1 week. I spent every day after school in the library next to the rest of my class as we all struggled together. About 1 month in, I accepted that I would never be prepared to live in Spain. So I stopped trying to get ready for things and started doing them. I stopped thinking about the right conjugation of a verb when I was talking to people and just started talking. I stopped Google translating every other word in my lit reading and started figuring out words on my own, now at the pace of 1 page every half hour. I was finally able to relax and enjoy my time in Spain without worrying if I was prepared enough. Suddenly, it was December, and 3 of my friends and I started planning our first independent trip out of Zaragoza. For a week, we started booking hostels, getting bus tickets, and filling out travel forms. That is, until we realized that we were planning on traveling the weekend before exam week. While I wish I could say we realized that experiencing a new city and traveling by ourselves and breaking out of our comfort zone were all more important than school, we definitely didn't. We didn't wake up one day and say, "Studying abroad has made me really chill and care more about experiencing life than studying, because who cares about memorizing subjunctive conjugations when you've had a transformative and cultural weekend in Barcelona?" Instead, we canceled our tickets and prepared ourselves for a long weekend living in the library. Luckily, we had a friend, Sloth, who heard our plans and gave us wise advice. "You can write your English essay on the bus there," he said, "and you obviously already know Spanish, so the speaking test should be easy. The rest of the exams you can study for the night before." We took his advice and rebooked our bus tickets. Side note, you should never, ever take academic advice from a boy nicknamed Sloth, because that says a lot about his approach for school. We had an amazing time in Barcelona, but ended up spending every waking hour in the library during exam week, desperately trying to remember the chain rule, the different stages of the Spanish Civil War, and everything in between. However, we made it through exams relatively unscathed, promising ourselves that we would never take Sloth's advice again. It wasn't until a math class later that year that I realized that we had made the right choice in traveling that weekend. We had just gotten a test back, and our entire class was in an uproar over the horrendous grades. People were yelling, a girl left the room crying, and there was general chaos everywhere. Our teacher managed to get us to be quiet and told us, 10 years from now, when you look back on this year, you're going to remember traveling and spending time with your friends and family. You aren't going to remember the grade you got on a COP test." Well, I don't think I will ever forget getting a 33% on an open note, open book group test. I realized that she was right. This isn't to say that school doesn't matter and that you should always go have fun instead of study, but at the end of the day, a grade is just a grade. What you do with your life and the person you are because of it isn't based on a number. I found a way to appreciate school as more than just grades and preparation for the next level of education. I learned how to use school as a way to experience the world and not to prepare for it. I went to museums in Madrid to study for art history tests instead of Googling pieces of art and watching a movie with my host mom to see the effects of censorship during Franco's dictatorship. I was still unprepared for almost everything I experienced, from 30-page research papers to getting hopelessly lost in a new city, but I knew that it didn't matter if I was prepared for it or not because I could figure it out along the way. So my advice to you is not to go travel to a new country or to not care as much about your grades, but to jump into something head first, even if you aren't completely sure you can do it. Instead of preparing yourself for one specific thing, just do something and learn how to deal with whatever comes along the way.